I think a lot of players, especially defensemen, but a lot of players in general, coming out of the USHL, if you're a top end player in the USHL, you're going to transition and you're going to be able to play at this level, and you know you could probably put some USHL teams together. I'm sure you could that could compete in many leagues, Division I leagues, because they have players that are committed to top teams all around the country throughout their lineup. So now you're looking at two players there, Chase and Willie, who both they were played a bit together in their junior career. They both came from championship team last year that won the USHL playoff championship in Youngstown, so they can play. Willie seems to just be getting more and more comfortable all the time. In his mind, he's probably thinking, okay, I'm glad you guys finally noticed that I'm here. But what we like is he's competing, and with Soupy out, with Campbell out, it's you need to have a puck mover in that pairing, and Willie's taking that opportunity. He's doing a good job. He's competing hard. He's smart. He doesn't overhandle a puck, which is important. We have. I think that Chase and Soupy at times do overhandle the puck. We're showing them video on that constantly, where there's guys open and to get that puck moving forward and then join the rush or look to get it back. I think Willie has a good knack for getting that puck to the open guy and making good plays. So he's given us a few good weekends. We wanted to start increasing his role at the in the second half of the year. We thought that he was showing good trends in the first half. So, but he got hurt at the GLI in the championship game fairly early in that game against Michigan State, and so that put him back, I think, a little bit in our eyes, anyways, as far as his development. So, but he's a good hockey player. It's we're fortunate that we had him to rely on, and he's taking advantage of it. Well, we've had our best success as far as impact players with guys that we recruited prior to, and they went someplace else, Jack being one. Yeah. We recruited him and offered him prior to going to Denver. We recruited Michael Caro a few years ago, and he ended up going to BU. And now he's been a regular in the American League with Texas. We recruited Campbell, and he's a top player. So knowing those players, having a reason why we recruited them, we've done, it's worked for us. With Worksy, Worksy's, so much of the game is played on the wall, and he's good on the walls. So especially in the offensive zone, he finds seams, he finds cracks, he takes on checks well. He makes plays from below the goal line to guys that are open. He's good on the walls, and what do they say? 85-87% of the game is played within 5 feet of the boards, and he's good in that area. So that's why. If you're good in that area and you can generate things consistently out of that area, you're going to generate offense, and he does that. Scoring chance-wise on the year, he's probably up in our top 3. They don't always equate to being points, but as far as him generating offense and not being involved in many chances on the other side of it in our zone, that's a pretty good recipe there. So he's a tremendous player, good player for us.
This weekend, with all the scenarios, are you even thinking about those, or is it just about taking care of defending home ice?
Yeah, we're just taking care of. Start with the first period on Friday night, and where I'm most pleased right now is that as a coach, and I've talked about this on the other side at times, you get concerned as a coach when you look at a player and you say, I know that player's better than that. I know he's better than that. Why aren't we getting more out of him? Or you say, why isn't this player getting better? Over time, just being on the ice at the Division I level and every day and in the weight room now, he should get better and be able to, usurp his authority as well, increasingly in a game over time. Where I feel good right now, where I feel the most pride and the best right now is we have guys that. There's depth throughout our lineup. We have a lot of tremendous players out. You lose 2 all-league players in Kukkonen and Swankler. Those are tough hits that's hard to get over. You lose, a D-transfer from BU and Getz for the year, and you got Campbell out of the year who's in our top pairing. Those are tough losses. You got Koskapiri, a world junior player, 16-point freshman, was on pace for 20-plus points, and you got him out, and those are all significant losses. But on the good side of it, there's a lot of guys that you know, some guys get a grace a little bit to, and this is the niche in it on the programs that get elite talent all the time, and I mean I'm talking about right through their depth. They can put that pressure on guys to develop and perform and do that, and they have other guys that'll go in and know what to do, even though they may have less talent. They're better hockey players. They're more impactful in the game. Because they've had to work their way in the lineup, and so you can teach those younger guys and hold them accountable with ice time to grow. Guys that we've put in the lineup have had to work to get in the lineup. Now that could be poor coaching, that we aren't just saying, okay, it doesn't matter who you are, you're sitting out, but we feel guys impact our game, but did they have the impact? We feel that they have better chance of creating offense and things. But when you see other guys get in the lineup and perform, and you see the growth in them, and I know I'm beating this up a bit, but I think we had the best team we could have on the ice this weekend, and there's still it wasn't in honesty it wasn't Mosley and Gordon and Logan that dominated for us. It was really the other three lines that consistently had the best analytics for us. That's a good thing going forward if they can continue that and continue that growth to show it does. It's not the name on the back of the jersey; it's how you're performing on any given night. And a lot of guys have to work really hard to be perfect in practice to get in the lineup, have those great values, and it's as you get better and better and better, and as your top end leads the way every day, like Bliss's did, like Hallinen's did. By the way, congratulations to Brian getting his first NHL game in here. They look tremendous. But you get those guys, the Missiaks and the Peratinos and the Sawyer. You get all those guys in there that do it the right way, and it forces the depth. And we saw the benefits of that with guys the last couple of years. You got the depth guys learn how to play and have to get better to get in the lineup, and they feel that they're getting shortchanged because everything's being given to those other guys, but those other guys are putting up numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When those other guys aren't driving it, and they're getting the ice time, that's tough. So I really liked what our guys are doing. I couldn't tell you right now who's our best line. I couldn't tell you. I could tell you who was our most productive line, and a lot of them were guys that aren't the names that people would think. And that's a good thing for us when we have that depth, because at some point the other guys are going to score as well. There were a couple of good games. The Friday game, they came out and got 2 goals in the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
Put us on our heels. We battled back and made a game of that. And then the next night, we scored. I think Kooks got his first goal that next night. They scored right away. Then they score at the end of a period twice. Right at the end of the first period, right at the end of the second period, in the last minute. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit in those games, and St. Thomas can make you pay for that because they work so hard. Now, they're like us right now. They're beat up. You got to feel for them in ways. They're in first place going into last weekend, and they're beat up like we are. So it's going to be a battle of wills. They play like we do. They both teams I think compete very hard and play hard. So it's going to be a really good series, and there's certainly something on the line for it. We'd love to give our people here a chance to watch us play again at least one more weekend. And they would like to win a playoff championship. They don't get to play for a national tournament,
right.
Which I think is ludicrous myself. But I don't even understand. I've never been explained the rules on that, why you can be a Division I team and not be able to play for a championship. But that's just outside of it. But they're coming into playing. They push it right to the end for a league title. Now they don't have a chance at that. They'll play for a playoff title and be able to hang a banner in their rink. So great weekend to get ready for the playoffs. A great weekend to test our overall lineup again. Mm-hmm. And we're looking. I think we've played, for the most part, probably 4 really good periods out of our last 6, and 2 that were okay to one second period last week against Mankato a couple weeks ago wasn't great on Saturday night, and that cost us a game. The other periods on that weekend were pretty good. Not all of them were great, but pretty good. And then I thought last weekend we were Saturday night second period just okay, but again 5 periods that were even better than the ones the week before. So going 3 of 4 against teams that were ahead of us in the standings in the last couple weekends of the year is really, really big. We were out of the playoff hunt by 5 points going into last weekend.
Yeah.
Out of home ice by 5 points, and now we're back into it. So things fell our way a little bit, and then our guys took care of business.